Hi, welcome back to another episode of SEO On-Air. I'm your host, Aaron, and today we have Darwin Liu, CEO of xAgency. We talk about his early days before starting xAgency, some of the challenges he faced, and what are some tips for entrepreneurs. I hope you enjoyed this episode.
Would you prefer a company name that stands out and is unique, or one that is very, let's say, deliberately SEO friendly? Like if I was a
So
carpet company, would you hate it if my name was the best carpet company?
no, because you guys do have carpet in there, right? And that is a great question. So my take on this usually, and it always is normally, as you're starting out, you are not Nike, so no one knows
Right.
what your brand name is. So if your brand name was just Darwin Liu Company, right? No one really knows. Normally for me, what I would always suggest is at least have what you do in your domain name first. When you get big enough and whatever, you can rebrand to whatever the hell you want to call it, where people know you already. They don't have to understand that you guys do carpet cleaning, right? So for me, if you're starting out, it's always say what you do first. You can brand yourself later.
How did you kind of brand yourself to become the Darwin Liu?
Then it was graduating college, and again, I didn't know what to do with myself, so I Googled how to get rich online. This was 2008, by the way. So I Googled how to get rich online. The first listing was from Warrior Forums, which was a big forum back in the day. Not many people go on there anymore. It was oh, it was online marketing. So I tried online marketing. I did a lot of black hat scams, right? Back in the day, Google was still almost in its infancy. It was still almost a wild, wild west. We can do a lot of sort of advertisements that we couldn't do now. Same with Facebook. I
Yeah.
sold black hat stuff. It was free, free iPad. You enter your email, and then what they don't know is they have to enter the silver offer and the gold offer, and then we get paid per email. I sold
Right.
free teeth whitening where it wasn't really free. There was a byline on the bottom that they got rebuilt, right? So I did all these. I racked up 30 grand on my credit card, and there was a time where I couldn't even pay it. So I had to go to the bank, put in a blank check with I think $1,000 or whatever. I got a couple hundred back, and that was the last draw, right? So then I owed about 30 grand. However, I did hit some sort of success on Facebook. Facebook just came out. They didn't have all their systems cleaned up and set up. So what I did was I had a script where it was like you invite all your friends first, then you enter your email for the free iPad offer. And we got paid $1.50 per email, by the way. And as you can picture, as they invite all their friends, it's a pyramid effect, right? So I was making
Right.
400, 500, 600, $700 and just kept on going every single day. Now, at that point, I was telling all my friends and my parents, I was just like, hey, mom, I told you guys I was going to be successful. I'm all, like, look, I'm rich
Right.
now. I'm all set. After 2 months, they Facebook came and just killed the whole thing, and I was back to square one. Racked up another 30 grand on my credit card. Then I was just like, I can't go any further. There's nowhere else I can go. So I had to get a job at an agency, entry level. Getting paid. I think it was 37 grand a month. Um, at that point, everyone around me was just like, I told you to get a job first. I told you to do this a while back. All your friends are all successful now. What are you doing? And I just sucked it up, right? For me, it was like that wasn't the end. Getting a job at a marketing agency was a means to an end. I still knew that I wanted to continue doing what I was doing. So at the
Yeah.
agency, I built up my own reputation, got promoted super quick. I started managing sort of strategy for the entire Boston side of the agency. And over then, I built up my own clientele on the back, and I built up my reputation because, as the digital marketing field, it's not that big, right? So a lot of people know each other. So building up my own clientele, building up my reputation, and then, I decided to quit, right? And when I quit, everyone around me was just like, why are you so stupid, Darn? You're doing great now. Why don't you just continue doing what you're doing? And I was like, yeah, at the end of the day, I'm doing great, but it's not what I want, right? I want my own company.
Yeah.
So after about 5 years working at the agency, I quit, started my own company, didn't get paid for a year and a half to two, started with three people, but within 1 year, we were at seven figures. We were Inc. 5,000 now. We've been growing pretty fast ever since.
So when you kind of started that off, was there any, let's say, some challenges that you kind of faced in the early days?
Oh, I mean, there's always challenges.
Actually,
Just
no,
starting
we
out.
could start with this with the poker terms as well, because we can talk about how there was a lot of, let's say, risks when you kind of started off.
Yeah. So, okay, we can put poker into this as well, right? So in college, the man, even through now, I'm 39 years old, right? Moving into now, bankroll management is one of the key things that I did not learn in college while playing poker. even now, Aaron, it's like bankroll management. How do I manage my bankroll? So
Yeah.
in college, this is what ended up happening. I was playing, you know, I went from $5 tournaments to $20 tournaments, right? But I never moved up after $20 tournaments. What I would do is I would win a $20 tournament. There was maybe 7,000 people. I'd win number one. I think first prize was anywhere from 9 to 13 grand, right? I would
Right.
take that winning and I would blow it all. I would literally just spend it on almost anything and everything. Instead of putting that into my bankroll, moving up and paying for higher entry fees, because at the end of the day, they're almost just about the same, right?
Right.
$100 buy-in is almost just about the same as 20. There's a little bit differences, people go crazier when it's lower, but for the most part, it's just about the same. Okay.
Yeah.
Uh, and instead of doing that and making more money and building and really just quitting after poker, I didn't do that. I just kept on spending the money. So fast forward to xAgency, I really put bankroll management into sort of the way I was thinking when I was starting out, meaning whatever I invest here, I can't just blow my whole bankroll. So I was really just spreading, making sure we had the budgets for, really planning it out, really just like getting it going instead of just whatever we make, we're spending, we're hiring, whatever. It wasn't really like that. It was okay, we're making this X amount, we have this amount, we can expand, we can get more people, we can move offices, yada yada yada.
Right. And did you also kind of start off by being, let's say, an agency that kind of provides all types of services, or did you start off small and then kind of grow it off?
Start off small, grew it off. However, when I say small, we started off with our core services, which really was paid marketing, SEO, and email. That's what we started off as. That's what we still have as our core. We've slowly branched off into a little bit extra stuff, but we're still sticking with our core, which is the paid performance marketing side.
So did you feel like you could have started off with all the services and then niche down later, or did you kind of start off and grow it off from there?
Yeah, so for me, I'm still gonna stay niche. Let me kind of explain. I always try to look laterally when I don't have an answer. So I'll ask Google, ask ChatGPT, whatever it is. But when I don't know something, I'll look into, I guess, what worked on the side, right?
Right.
And then for me, I was looking at, let's just say, auto body mechanics or doctors and general practitioners do not get paid as much as brain surgeons, or BMW specific auto repair shops do not get paid way more than a general auto body shop. So for me, it's always going to be niche because people look at you differently. If you are a jack of all trades, you are a master at none. So even
Right.
when we start expanding to more creative aspects, we're going to create a new branch, right? So it might be X agency creatives, where it's a separate part of the business. So even as we expand, and we do want to expand and get into different services, however, it has to be done strategically so people don't look at us and go, wow, they just do everything. They're probably not good at anything.
Have you come across a situation like that where you maybe had to hire up a client, but then because of the differences in services, they kind of didn't really believe in your, let's say, abilities?
So for us right now, no, right? So it's kind of the opposite.
Okay.
Whenever we do a service, there are a lot of things that we don't offer. They'll say, hey, do you guys do, say, organic social postings and things like that, right? Our issue is that when clients ask for those services, it makes us immediately want to do it. The hard part is say
Right.
no. However, we have partners, so we have a good partner network where there are things we can't do that we'll push off to our partners. And we'll let them know that it's our partners. It's not what we do. However, they're good at what they do. So we try to push them off to our partners.
Right. So if we can we do another, let's say, hypothetical? We can still use the poker terms as well, but it's more of just like a situational type thing.
Yeah.
The first half of it, I think we can talk about it'll be mainly you. But if you are who you are today, but I am the younger version of Darwin, what are some things you would like to tell me in the earlier days to kind of help off with the starting of X Agency? I've
Yeah.
already understood bankrolling is a very important part of it. So some other
I,
tips and tricks maybe.
yeah. One is do not hire your friends. It is the. I
It can
think
be a
we are.
dangerous business.
Yeah, I think a lot of people who start their companies do hire their friends, right? And it is the easiest source of hiring, but it is always the biggest source of issues. That is something I wish I knew earlier. Also, fire fast. Um, Fire fast, hire slow. So, in the
Yeah.
beginning, it's I think of starting a company as a sort of super course to life or to navigating life. And,
Right.
it is as I guess humans, I truly do. My name is Darwin. I do really believe in, evolutionary theory.
Right.
Surprisingly or not surprising.
It's
Um,
in your name. Yeah.
yeah, exactly. And I feel like as humans, we all go through the same path or the same track. And to get to the next level, hard conversations or having hard conversations is something that we're not born with experience with, right? Nowadays, even when someone comes to you on the road and gives you a flower and then expects $1 back, majority of folks will just give that dollar even though they don't want to, right?
Right.
So for me, it was, the firing was always the hardest, and everyone's going to feel the same way when they want to fire someone, which really is they want to push back that hard combo. They're afraid to, especially when it's their friends, right? So learning the hard combos or learning how to have hard combos is one thing that you really should do. Some tips on how to do that is I would go to the grocery store, fill up my card, go to the thing, put it on, and tell them I forgot my my credit card. I go to the clubs by myself and just try to like, and that's embarrassing by the way. I go to the clubs by myself, try to talk to people, try to do things by myself, and that's scary stuff, right? So those are some
Yeah.
tips on the hard combo thing. And I wish I knew to do that stuff prior to all this because if I did, I think we'd be way farther than we are, right?
Right.
Also, the destination is the journey itself. When I first started, it was like, when can I get rich? When can I get rich? When can I get rich? But as I'm doing this, I'm really realizing that like there is no destination. Really, the destination is staying on course, staying on this entrepreneur's journey when it gets hard, because it will get hard. No one's going to tell you how hard it gets. And I think nowadays with the Instagram generation, everyone is just glorifying, taking, renting a plane to take a picture, and everything looks like it's so easy. They never talk about the hardship that you have to do.
Yeah.
Now I'm letting y'all know if you are really doing an entrepreneur journey, it is not hard. You better suck up and brace for how hard it is, right? Um, Also, the segue off of that, it doesn't get easier. It actually gets harder. And when you're
Yeah.
starting up by yourself, it's easy. You can fail. It's only you on the line, right? But now as you get bigger, you have salaries you have to pay. You have to make sure your team members are still not that they have their paychecks every week, right? So that
Yeah.
is the stuff that keeps me up at night the most, which is making sure everyone gets paid. Yeah,
Yeah.
I'd say those are the main things that I would. And when I do start a new company, it is going to take what I just said and putting it into the new company. Okay, so yeah,
Yeah. I feel like one of the hardest steps is taking that first step, but I think the hardest step after that is being consistent and taking those steps every day. So I think
yeah,
a lot of people can do the first part of it, but the second part of it is where people kind of fall off.
yeah.
Um,
And just to add on to that, Aaron, right? And what I would say really is that there is a formula for almost everything we do, and I try to formulate everything. And the formula for success clearly is almost the same across the board. And the first step is to start, right? But the
right.
second step is to continue on the course, and as an example, just some quick ones for you would be, let's just say I cut my own hair, right? And my friends tried to do it too. So we cut our own hair for, after 3 months, everyone has a bowl cut. We look stupid, right? And then what ended up happening is people quit because they just can't stomach looking stupid. But for me, knowing the formula for success, which is staying on path, because that's the only way you can get better. I'll continue doing it. Doesn't matter what it is, whether it's working out, whether it's cutting hair, whether it is getting good at games, whatever it is, you just have to stay the course. And if you do, you'll eventually get good.
One thing I wanted to kind of pick apart was when you said hire slowly. I think it's a good idea, but I think a lot of people don't really understand what exactly it means to hire slowly, and what are some things to maybe look out for that could actually be a potential threat later on. So could you tell me
Yeah,
how yeah, could you walk me through the hiring process?
yeah. So, even when we first started, this was a plan that we put in place, which is we're always hiring. So we have a job board, we have a job position up almost all the time, whether it's on LinkedIn or Indeed or some other places that our team puts the stuff on, right? So when we do
Right.
something like that, we have a long list of candidates that we have in line that when someone leaves or whatever it is, we can actually put them in place, right? Also, for our team, we try to not overload them where they're at 100% capacity, so that we have extra people on staff so that we can move people into different places. So in this way, we're not forced to do a rush hire where someone just left and we have to fill an expert role, and then it's not a good hire, right? So
Right.
that for sure. One other thing is, if you hire good people, they can get stolen from you, right? And we've had that a couple of times. So that day, that is what happened, and I'm not too worried about it. And I always tell our team, right, you want to be so good that people want to steal you, and if they do, I'm not going to be mad at you because you're really good at what you do. Okay, so
Right. But how do you kind of find out if they are a good person or if they're just really, really nice just in that interview phase?
I got you. So a couple of things. We go through a couple rounds of interviews. That's one, but we also interview based on the position that they're trying to do. So for
Okay.
sales role, we have a scorecard where we're trying to hire based off of X, Y, Z. For operations, that would be something different. For client management, it might be something different. So as long as they hit these core scorecards, that's the number one indicator. Number two is we put them through one of these tests. I forgot the name of the test, but it's like a personality test to see if they fit the role that they're trying to do. Is that the perfect way? Possibly not, but I'd say out of all the hires we've had, maybe one or two haven't really turned out the way that we've wanted. Okay, but I think that's sort of regular. That's normal in the hiring process.
Yeah.
Overall, we've been able to mitigate a lot of that.
Yeah. I don't think there's a perfect way anyway, but I think it's a pretty good way to kind of establish it both on the needs of the role and the actual personality of the person.
Yeah,
Because you might be
for
really good
sure.
at your job, but you might not be a culture fit.
Exactly. And you don't want to put people in a place that they're not going to be happy at, or they're not going to work with the team on. So 100% agreed.
Right. So to kind of also continue on the hypothetical side of things, I'm not going to be Darwin youngster anymore. I'm going to kind of be, I'm going to actually, wait, I'll ask you another question before I get to that. When it comes to X agency and the kind of companies or agencies that work with you, is there a common type of company that kind of hires you out?
Yeah. So normally, right, and we do the best where a company already has a marketing program going, so we can come in and improve it, okay? But typically, usually it is a company that can pay us the monthly fees, right? And why do I say that? So, um, and I normally a paid service can run anywhere from 5 to 7 grand flat fee. Okay, startups with VC or PE funding will use us, and we've had a bunch of VC backed or PE backed companies that use us, and we do great on those. Um,
Right.
Companies that have bad marketing that we can come in and really clean up, we do great on those as well. So in summary, usually it's a mid-to-price level company. Usually it is a company making anywhere from $2 to $200 million a year and it doesn't matter what industry it is. We started with e-commerce as our bread and butter. So I'd say 60% of our clientele is still e-commerce right now. But we've slowly branched off. About 20-ish% is B2B, about 10-ish% is nonprofit, and then the other 10 is like everything else.
All right, so I'll try taking then the e-commerce side of things and using that for the hypothetical. Let's say my name is Mario, and my brother Luigi and I we've started off an e-commerce business. We've kind of got the first year running. We've got a basic website, and we've done the basics for most part of it. But we want to know from X Agency, how can we now grow our visibility and become, let's say, a more recognized brand?
Yeah.
How would you walk me through that?
Well, first off, kill Bowser, right?
That was, yeah, our rival company.
Yeah. So, well, a couple of things, right? Let me ask you this: and are you Mario or are you Luigi?
Right now, Mario. I would
Okay.
have to
Well,
be a bit offensive if I have to do Luigi, so I'm just going to stick to the Mario part.
okay. Well, Mario, are you currently running marketing?
Uh, I have a person in house who's doing marketing. He's maybe a bit of experience, but yeah.
Got it. And if I could just ask quickly, just give me a ballpark budget y'all doing right now.
What would be a good ballpark budget for this situation for you to hire
Let's
us at least?
let's just say you're spending at the minimum 75 to 100 grand a month, right?
That's exactly
Okay.
how much we're spending.
Perfect, man. I'm glad we're on the same page, Mario. Um, Couple things. One, make sure you have all of your free items set up, right? So this is marketing that doesn't require any money. And a couple of examples for you would be, since you're an e-commerce shop selling Mario stuff, um, make sure you have your Google free shopping set up. Make sure you have your Bing free shopping set up. Make sure you have your Facebook store set up, right? Make sure you have your other free properties set up so you can get better, so Google can rank you better, whether it is your Google My Business, whether it is making sure your Search Console is set up. So all free properties, there's a bunch of them. Make sure you have that going. Okay, that's one. Two is the second step we always recommend to companies that we do an audit for is a quick CRO refresh based on best practices. Okay, so as an example, I'll just give you one. Majority of sites we looked at, their CTAs are all over the place, different colors, different text, and that hurts, right? We want it to be the same color, same size, same text. We want people to go to the same spot every single time. For the checkout, we want to make sure that it's as less steps as possible, not like 10,000 different steps, okay? So CRO refresh is the second step of all this. Why? Because every dollar you're spending, that's 75 grand to 100, goes way further with a better conversion rate. Every traffic that is coming on board goes further, right? Step three is take your, and this is the, I guess, the secret sauce you want to call it, that we really focus on, is the thing with Google and Facebook and all these channels. What they push and what the reps push, it does not align with what our clients care about, and our clients only care about basically one thing: revenue, profits, right? What the gross margin is, how much they're making, and that is not what Google cares about. Google and them, where do they get their money? They get money when advertisers pay for their stuff. So what do they recommend? They want us to get top page positions every single time. Doesn't matter who we're talking to. That is not what you want to do. So with that $75,000, Mario, I bet you I can double your clicks with that same $75,000. How? By spreading your dollars, bidding as low as possible for the CPCs and getting into as many surfaces as possible. So what does that actually mean? Instead of bidding on, 3 PMAX campaigns with 5 keyword campaigns and yada, 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 we tell our team to spread it out as much as we can. So we're not top spots. We're bidding as low as we can for the CPCs. We're getting less clicks per placement, right? However, we're able to get into way more placements. So we're going way wider. We're paying way less, and it ends up being way more. A quick example for you for that would be my COO, Rachel Anderson. She was the e-commerce director for one of our clients now, right? When I pitched her, I was like, hey, we'll double your revenue within a month. She was just like, I don't believe you. I don't know what you guys are doing. I was just like, all right, just give us a month. She signed on board. I think within a month and a half, we tripled their revenue with the same spend. And that really is, by at the end of the day, dropping their bids. We're getting way lower traffic for what they're currently bidding on, but we're taking the savings and we're just spreading across into as many keywords, campaigns as possible. Doesn't matter if it's display, doesn't matter if it's YouTube. Nowadays, or back in the day when we first started, there wasn't automated bidding. So it was very hard to be ROAS positive in branding type campaigns. So YouTube campaigns, display campaigns, it was hard to be positive in ROAS. Nowadays, with automated bidding, any placement, any surface, the way Google calls it, can be ROAS positive is done right. So that's how we're kind of doing things, performance branding, basically. So spread your dollars as far as you can. Don't listen to Google. Don't fight for the top spots. Fight for profitability. Okay. Lastly, though, I would also tell you, Mario, is stop jumping on the shiny objects. Stop jumping on the TikToks and the Snapchats and all that stuff. When majority of folks that we're auditing do not have the basic setup. Email is still king, man. Like we see so many clients that aren't utilizing email or SMS. I mean, SMS has like 18% conversion. It's crazy. Email, right? If you had a list of 2 million people at a 0.1% conversion rate, that's money right there. So for us, it's really make sure you're still in the bread and butter campaigns that you're doing, whether it's email, SEO, all the free stuff you have, the paid stuff.
Right. So one question there is, as Mario, with my marketing manager, do I need to just survive with this marketing guy, or can I hire out an agency like X instead?
You should 100% hire out an agency like X. The problem with and there's nothing really wrong with in-house guys. The only thing I would say for the in-house guys is they have a limited worldview, especially if they've been working for you for a long time. They don't know what the latest and greatest is. They don't know what the newest, industry things are. They don't know how things work separate from just within itself. The agency, what I've seen a lot of times, can save you whatever money you're paying the agency goes further than having just someone in-house just do it on their own.
So then the question comes, this entire past conversation, I think for the past, let's say 5 minutes or 10 minutes, what would you find out as within me as a client that might be a bad sign for us not to take you? actually for you not to take me as a client?
Yeah. So what normally happens, at least on our side, is we'll come in and do an audit. We'll take a look at your accounts. And usually, if everything is set up correctly, if you have all of your properties set up, if you're running your account with every single campaign type set up, we have all of your fundamentals all good, right? Your email, and there's nothing we can improve. I'm not going to come and tell you that we can improve your account. We normally we're pretty precise when we after the audit, we'll normally say, hey, based on the way the account's set up, we can improve it by 20, 30, 40%. Um, Sometimes there's sometimes that we look and we say, hey, the account is pretty good. It's set up almost proper, almost perfect. So you're not a good client for us. The next one would be if you have crazy expectations, right? If you say here, we want to set correct expectation. You want to be clear, right? So if you're gonna while during the pitching process, you're gonna tell me you want a 10x, and we're looking at the account, we're saying, hey, based on this, at the 10x, you can only get this much revenue, and I don't think we can do what you want. Then it's not gonna work out either way. Okay. Um,
Right.
Also, we've had some clients that we know are quote vampire clients, right? So not all clients are good. They're not all equal. Some of
Right.
them can pay you way less, but be super, super time consuming. And those we know off the bat, and we'll normally say no to those as well.
Right. I mean, yeah, I've kind of noticed that some agency owners, when they do see another client just waving money at them, they'll pretty much take it or jump at it. But I want to kind of know what are some things that you as an agency owner would just be like, hey, listen, we've got our, let's say, integrity in check, and we don't just take money to do whatever it is.
Yeah, no, and I think maybe some of the answers I just gave, I hope
Yeah.
answered that, right? And it's in the beginning, I think there's different phases to a company, right? In the beginning, I mean, you're just taking everything and anything. You're gonna take all the shit in the world.
Yeah.
But as you get bigger, you can slowly push those off. And for us, the biggest thing is vampire clients. So we try very hard not to. So there's in our book or in our eyes, there's three types of clients. There's the whales, there's the normal clients that fit our MRR, so our monthly recurring revenue, they fall in line, and there's the vampire ones. We try not to get the whales or the vampires, and when I say whales, they are clients that are super huge, right? They will give you a ton of revenue. Sure, I'd love them, but we don't try to go after them. Again, the problem is, guess what? If they leave, you have to lay off 30%
Yeah.
of your staff. So we try not to do those. The super large ones, and then also the ones that suck up all of your time.
Right. The super large one seems like a double-edged sword itself, where you don't mind the revenue, but then the risk of losing them is risk of losing part of your company too.
Yeah, 100%. And we have one big one now where I'm always trying to plan what will happen if they do leave. So we want things in place if they do. So
I mean, all the best for that. Hopefully, they don't really end. They just stay by with you guys for a while.
agreed.
Um, but I've been talking to Luigi a little bit, and he kind of gave me an idea about this whole marketing and SEO side of things. He kind of mentioned that with the rise of AI and whatnot, a lot of these things can be made easier. Me being a little bit traditional, I'm kind of hesitant on just switching to AI. What are your thoughts on it in our industry in general?
Yeah, well, AI has really taken the forefront for almost everything we're doing, right?
Yeah.
And if we're talking about AI and SEO, I mean, we've been testing blogs with straight AI written content, no rewrites, no nothing, and it's getting picked up. I mean, for for one of our accounts, our blogging, or if you want to call it organic, was only 5% of the traffic. Now it's like 25, and it is straight AI written copy. Okay,
Right.
so what I would say about AI is AI has been around, and it's a bigger, I guess it's a bigger buzzword now, but Google automated bidding is AI, and that stuff was almost, they're trying to put that in place 8 years ago. When automated bidding first came out, everyone was afraid they're going to lose their jobs, but it's like it's kind of like Ford and the horse carriage, right? Something
Right.
is going to change. You either work with it or you get left in the dust. So for us, we're really utilizing AI for many parts of what we do. So one, we're testing blogging for AI. We're testing AI to rewrite stuff, right? We're using AI on our Google Sheets where if we have 100 blogs, we literally just dump it in and it'll write it for us. If we want a rewrite, we do the same thing. It's just formulated all over the blog. So will use them for the rewrites. We use them for coding as well. I mean, if it's like we're checking at a tag to see if it's set up and correct, we'll ask Gemini and they'll give us all those answers. So AI as a productivity tool is freaking amazing. What I would warn against, though, is don't just take AI as the gospel, because it is not always going to be the truth. They pull data from some sort of place, right? So it can still be skewed. I have seen folks just, let's just say they'll Google a job position and then they give the list and they think that that is the list, but it really isn't. So AI is AI. You use it to work with you. Don't use AI as strictly the main tool for what you're doing.
And currently, besides the content creation side of things, are there any, let's say, tools with AI being developed at X, or is that something you want to stay clear from?
No, that's not our expertise, right? So we don't have, say, tools per se. Internal tools we do. We have AI for a lot of the things that we do on a daily basis that really helps us clean things up. Whether it is we have formulas for, say, marketing audits, where we just dump in the website and the formula is already set up on there, so they'll tell us where they're running their stuff. What platforms they're using, things like that, right?
Right.
These are just internal sort of, they're not quote real tools, but they are internal stuff that we use internally on, say, a Google spreadsheet or something like that,
Right.
where we're trying to stay focused on what we do best, which is the marketing aspect of it.
All right. So then, if I kind of take back to the hypothetical, me and Luigi are trying to figure out what we can do. Could you maybe point out some things where, in the starting of, when it comes to starting of a business and then running it on the way, where are the areas where we can use AI effectively, besides the content creation part, let's say?
Yeah, I mean, even the company stuff itself, right? I don't do any of these things nowadays a lot, but I mean, let's just say it is, how do I, you can ask AI anything. Okay, so
Pretty much.
prior to even the online world, when someone wanted to learn something, it was either through someone else or they had to go to the library and find a book or whatever. Then Google came and they made it easier for you to find information, right? But it wasn't super precise. Sometimes you're trying to find something, you have to go through a lot of things. AI does really cut through the weeds in terms of giving you information that could be helpful. So even if it is things like, hey, how do I register my company as an LLC or whatever, or what are the steps I need to do to set up an HR department or whatever it is, AI is going to be your board of advisors. You can ask Gemini, and ChatGPT can sit on your board of advisors. You can ask them what you want to ask, and they will at least spit something out to give you a general direction. Not saying follow it to the T, but AI can really help you cut through the noise and help you be more informed in terms of what you need to do. So business organization. And two is to help you hire less folks, right? So back in the day, it would take us, and we do blogging now, right? So we write blogs and it would take way longer to do something. Nowadays, we don't have to hire as many people. We keep one person to do the job of three. So think of AI as a productivity tool, think of AI as an information tool. So you would use it to ask, you don't even have to be asking me anymore, Mario. You can just ask, Gemini and
Right.
ChatGPT.
I have the last kind of question I have isn't really a question. It's more of a plug for yourself and X agency. So if you had 2 minutes to kind of promote yourself and X, this would be your free time.
Cool. Funny thing is, I hate self promotion, but yeah, if
Okay.
anyone is a mid-enterprise level client who spends maybe somewhere around 2 million to 200 million, your year-over-year growth is stagnant, or you're having trouble with your agencies. Hey, feel free to reach out to xAgency, right? Just go on xagency.com, request submit a contact quote with Rachel, and then we'll see what we can do. But I mean, on average, our clients go anywhere from 30% to 300% increases in revenue without increases in spend when we take over within the first 3 months. Okay, so we are a performance marketing agency. We're great at driving numbers. We're great at driving revenue and ROAS. We're not your creative branding person. That is not our forte. But if you want performance, if you want results, that's what we do.
All right, awesome. And where can people find you, Darwin?
Yeah, find me on LinkedIn. Feel free to connect with me. If anyone ever have any questions, you can email me at darwin@xagency.com. I don't always respond right away, but I always do get back to you within the week.
All right, awesome. So I want to give you a big thank you for this entire thing. I feel like halfway through the chat, I felt like I should have been taking down some notes because I really felt like that inspiration coming from you. But thank you so much for making this entire talk enjoyable and also for giving stuff in bite-sized pieces. I feel like if you did give it in much bigger chunks, it would have been hard to digest. But thank you so much for doing this.
Yeah, no, and I mean, you made it this way, right? You facilitated this whole conversation. So a good job on doing what you're doing there, and keep it up, man.
All right. Again, thank you so much. Thanks for watching that episode. I hope you enjoyed. For more videos like this, make sure you like and subscribe.